Interviews are a research method consisting of one-on-one conversations with your users. You can conduct these interviews face-to-face, by phone, or by video conference. One of the most useful things about interviews is that they allow you to gain a deep understanding of people's experiences, beliefs, and attitudes. And they give you a chance to discuss in detail how people use and reuse your digital collections. Interviews can be structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. When you conduct a structured interview, you follow a script that you've written ahead of time. The script contains opening and closing information, all of the questions you'll ask, and predetermined follow-up questions. Basically, you're reading a questionnaire out loud. Semi-structured interviews are more flexible. The interviewer can rephrase questions, add questions, omit questions, and change the order of questions. These interviews allow new topics to arise organically, but still provide comparable data from one interview to the next. Because of this, it's important to keep track of exactly what the interviewer asked during the interview. Unstructured interviews are more like conversations. You begin with specific questions in your script, but the follow-up questions depend on how people answer. These interviews can be the most challenging to conduct since the interviewer needs to think on their feet and the person taking notes needs to be sure to capture everything. Speaking of note-taking, it's best practice to have someone who is not the interviewer take notes. This makes it easy for the interviewer to pay full attention to the interview itself. It's also common to record interviews, either by audio or video. You'll need to get consent from the person being interviewed before recording. These recordings will help you capture verbal or nonverbal cues and enable multiple listeners to check the reliability of everything later. Ideally, the interviewer should be trained in interview techniques. They'll need to know how to help participants feel comfortable, how to ask non-leading questions, how to best ask follow-up questions, and also know how to counteract their own biases. It's a good idea, if possible, for the interviewer not to represent the organization that's being discussed. This will help people feel free to express a range of reactions. If your organization doesn't have access to trained interviewers, you can still train your staff on best practices for conducting interviews, so they can learn how to encourage people to speak candidly. These types of interviews are usually done with a small number of users and typically last between 30 and 60 minutes. Of course, you'll want to recruit people who have used or reused your digital collections. But you may also find it helpful to interview people who have attempted to use your collections but ran into problems, or people who have thought about using your collections but haven't done so yet. In general, you should try to invite people from as many perspectives as possible. To learn more about best practices for interviews, see the next section of this tutorial. You'll also find some templates you can use for a recruitment email, a recording consent form, and more. Good luck with your interviews!